so annoying that Lauren's having a mental break. Why can't you just be here with us, Lauren?
Welcome to The Story Thinker, a Webtoons and Witcher podcast for superfans with scene-by-scene analysis. Featuring sharp co-hosts for a fuller picture, we dive deep into character psychology, relationships, and theories. We'd love it if you could like, subscribe, comment, and rate us on all podcast platforms and social media. For bonus content, you can support The Story Thinker on Patreon. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 158, Seething, Swords. I actually don't know the rest of the word. Swordsman, swords work.
I'm pretty sure it's just Seething Sword.
Oh, Seething Sword. Okay, awesome. And it is the mid-season finale of season 3. And we are with Ocean and Chaise. And we found out only a few hours before the episode dropped that it was going to be the mid-season finale, although we did guess because for people who are following Soph's streaming, they noticed that she hadn't been streaming in a while. So they're like, well, also it was a very climactic moment. So they correctly guessed that this was the mid-season finale, and it is. So a very exciting episode. So much going on, so much drama, so much tension, great music, which we always forget to comment on because like we don't turn it on while we record. But what do you guys think of the music before we begin?
So I love the music, obviously. So before we do the recording, I usually read through the discussions channel on Discord, and I need to have like background music, and I played the music that was in this chapter. So good. Yeah. And fun fact, my most played song, like when you get your Spotify Wrapped, my most played song last year was the Lullaby.
Yes.
I think I played it like 200 times.
It's amazing. I had like Purple Hyacinth also as one of my top artists or whatever.
Yeah.
1 year. It's amazing.
No, I love it. I do have to admit, I can't like read and focus to listening at the same time. So kind of heinous, but I listen to it separately. Like I'll listen to it like while I'm not reading it, and then I go back and read it with like that sound in mind, but I love it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, not everyone can do that. All right, so let's get started. We have lots to cover. All right, so we left off last time with Lauren in the I was gonna say in the factory, but in the factory number 2 warehouse, whatever it is, having a total mental breakdown because she is seeing Dylan. And this is where we start off this episode. You know, there's like a fire behind her. It's ATST and factory arc all shoved together in one. And little Dylan is standing there saying, "Why are you scared, Ren?" Oh my God.
This is good.
Little demonic Dylan.
Yeah.
Creepy demon Dylan.
Yeah. This is evil Dylan. So in the very first panel, Lauren has a bomb strapped to her chest, which I think is an interesting detail. Like it's clearly not actually there, but like it's a really interesting thing that she's like seeing on herself. Like she has the bomb and she's the ticking time bomb of like finding out the truth.
Yeah. So do you think it means that she is finally, I guess there's more of it later, but like she finally recognizes how much how unhealthy it is, like her obsession with Dylan, and how much that is like a liability for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So when I saw that, I kind of thought that she was taking like all of her trauma and pushing it together, like from the last factory with the bomb and then Dylan, and she's just reliving all of it at once. Is kind of how I took that. Like all of her fears are manifesting in this warehouse factory thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this episode is just filled with everyone's trauma. and then we laugh, of course. Okay. All right, so now we are back. What?
Sorry. I was gonna say the trauma brought out amazing artwork though. Like beautiful.
Yeah, so trauma number 2 versus Lauren. Now there's Kim. And as we saw last episode, we left off with Kim totally having like some kind of attack where she has to, prevent Will from getting, falling because the guy's cutting the rope, and her vision is blurring and doubling, and she's huffing and puffing. And now we are back here. She's looking and we hear Kim, and she's got the gun pointed. And it's so ironic because Kim has been like the sharpshooter. So it's like just at this moment, she managed to control her feelings with guns and, to excel at them. but now like her emotions are betraying her just at the worst possible timing.
So it always happens, always at the worst time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the high stress, brings it out.
Yep.
She pulled it together though. She's a sharpshooter still, even through all that shaking.
Yeah, so she doesn't shoot the guy, or I don't know, shoot the gun out of his hand or something. She shoots a different rope and cuts that, and I'm not quite sure what that does. I was a little okay. It looks like it caught him by the neck, and he is flying with it. Now, I don't know what happened to him. We don't see him as far as I know.
I think what it's supposed to be is like that middle part of the rope. Like you can see it in the panel before she shoots. It's the middle part that's like holding it up, and then like because she shoots it like kind of like a slingshot. So and then like hits him like here, and then he falls. I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I was like, my first, thought with like a neck around the rope was like, sorry, a rope around the neck was, oh, like, is that going to hang him? Which is really gruesome, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like they'll just push him down. Yeah, I didn't want to like take that further. But yeah, that does indeed get Will out of his predicament, and his expression is like very amusing in some way because he's like, huh? Like he's, looking at the guy whooshing past him, and then he looks around and he sees Kim, and she's just still standing there on the deck, like frozen, immobile, clearly in like an emotional state. And now we zoom in and we see that she's crying and her hand is shaking. And I don't know if Will can see that. Do you think Will can see that from his position?
Well, aren't they wearing masks? So this is kind of like an artist thing. Like we can see her eyes through the mask, but like he can't actually see. So I think that's but that he can't actually see.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, I don't think he can see that she's crying, but I think he could probably see her body language and that she's shaking in the moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and our dear lovely Will, because he cares for our dear lovely Kim, climbs up the rope. He looks fantastic while he does it. Just saying. Keeps climbing, and then Kim is finally like dropping the gun, shaking. There's a white space behind her. She's very emotionally affected, and now she's like, she's breathing heavily. She's sweating or crying or both, and she's leaning over. So now it's very visible that she is distraught. And now we are back at the factory, and we have Lauren, or her vision is blurring as well. There's like a lot of black lines. There's Demon Dylan crackling, or fires crackling, and he's stepping toward her, and he's saying, deep down, you know that I died. You've searched for me for 10 years, but you know that I'm dead. And Lauren's legs buckle out from under her, and she crashes down onto the ground. And he says, why have you kept looking for me? Why have you turned me into your obsession? And he looks freaky. He is, his eye socket, one of them is like missing. The other one is like things coming out. I mean, it just looks very disturbing. Why did you keep looking for me when you knew I was gone, for something you knew was gone? Did you convince yourself it would somehow make it better? And she is she's clenching her eyes. She's refusing to listen to this, or to Dylan, who's just looking worse and worse by the moment, like his face is melting off. Gross.
Skincare routine.
Needs to be in the grave, I guess. And he says, now this is really nice horizontal shot. He says, you are weak. You spent 10 years looking for answers. Yet once they were staring you down in the face, you ran away. You still don't want to face it. Useless coward. I can't hear this. It's like, it's so negative and mean.
So mean.
Yeah.
It makes sense though that it's coming from her own mind almost, because like we're our own worst enemies. So I feel like just like the trauma of being back in a closed space like that factory is making it all come out, Oh God. It gives me like the jitters thinking about how much she's just sweating in this building that's probably freezing because it's nighttime.
Yeah. Let's do the last few panels and then let's like talk about this in general. And his apparatus, picks up her chin, and it's extremely gruesome. Like his face is completely melted away, and like you see his jawbone and his teeth. And he says, what will be left once this blind quest is stripped away from you? What will you be forced to look at then? Oh, wow. Okay. So my thoughts on this are, one, I'm happy that Lauren is recognizing, it's like coming to the front finally, that she's recognizing that she's been, like blinded by her own obsession, and that she doesn't want to ask what happened to Dylan, and she kind of knows deep down inside he's probably dead. But I don't understand why she's so mean to herself. And I don't understand what purpose this obsession serves in her mind. Because we have noted before that she seems to be much more upset about Dylan than about her parents' death. And she's not obsessed with her parents' death. She seems to have made peace with that. And obviously, her parents' death was considered to be more natural, or she always thought it was more natural, right? She thought it was just that they fell down. So maybe there wasn't that sense of I can do anything about it. It was an accident. But with Dylan, maybe she's oh, it's her justice seeking side. People killed him. He was innocent. There was no reason for it. Let me hunt them down. But I'm trying to figure out why do you think she's even so obsessed with Dylan? And why is she so upset at herself for being so obsessed?
I think it really stems from the fact that from my understanding, there was bodies with her parents. So she saw them, they were dead. With Dylan, she was right there with him. And then seconds later, moments later, he was gone. There was no body. She didn't know what happened. And I think a part of her thinks that she should have died with him there, or she should have brought him with her, or, something like that. I feel it's driven by a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Is how I kind of take it.
It's 100% guilt, because we see in, I think it's 49, the story, what actually happened, and how she, injured herself, and she said, can you get your dad to pick me up? So Dylan goes back to the train station, and then it explodes, and Lauren, says, if I, in her mind, it's pretty clear that it's if I didn't ask him to go back, Dylan would still be alive. And it's also a thing with throughout that day we saw that she was hearing lies about oh, the next train will be at 10:45, whatever. And if she thinks maybe if I acted on those thoughts, then maybe I could have figured out what happened. Also with her parents, I think she has she's found out what happened. She knows that Sandman was ordered to kill them, so she knows the full story of what happened to her parents, so that's why she can probably kind of mourn them a bit more, but she can't let go of Dylan because she doesn't know what happened to him. She doesn't know who the leader is. She doesn't know who was responsible for all the bombing. She doesn't, and also the whole thing about there being no bodies. So no body for Dylan, I mean.
I guess to me what's tragic is that she talks to herself in that way. I always, whatever, certain people in my life, let's just say have a negative, self-talk, and they criticize themselves. And I'm you would never talk to anyone that way. You would never talk to another person or your child or your friend that way. Why do you talk to yourself that way? Don't put yourself down. You can't say, oh, I'm such a dumbass, or I'm such a loser. You don't talk that way about yourself. And the way she's talking, which obviously this is her mind manifesting, it's so mean. She has such strong feelings. It's so sad. Lauren, don't think of yourself that way. Okay, so you're a little obsessed. Yes, you are. But just relax. Okay. You don't deserve it.
We all make mistakes.
But what do you think will happen in the future? I mean, obviously not in terms of plot, her being kidnapped and all, but the fact that she's reaching this awareness. Do you think she'll have the bravery to ask Kieran about it? What will change now that she's really faced with her own obsession and kind of admitting that Dylan's dead?
Well, skipping forward a bit in the episode, she has been bonked on the head and has been dragged away, and we don't know who's taken her. We have some ideas, but I feel whoever has taken her, she might obviously it's for someone who doesn't have her interests at heart, so they might she might ask them if, okay, so let's say she's been kidnapped by by Redcliffe's gang, the circus people. So maybe she can talk to Redcliffe and ask, and maybe she'll get her answers from them. And obviously she can say if she can tell if they're lying or not. So maybe she got their answers. So maybe they're Lauren, why don't you just ask us whatever you want? And then she asks, and she's okay, what happened to Dylan? and then she gets her answers. And then like, what will she do after that? Like, oh, he's dead. Okay, like, okay, now what's she gonna do? Like she's like spent so long of her life obsessing over this. It's kind of like made her who she is. Like she, like without that obsession, she kind of doesn't have anything left. Her entire like plot with Kieran is finding the leader and finding out what happened to her friend and bringing them down. Once that has been like served, she kind of doesn't have anything left, which doesn't just mean to say like she has no personality or anything, but like to her that's like her main driving force of like everything she does. And then like after that is like, oh, protecting my family and my friends, but like that's her main thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think having these hallucinations is going to be a key thing for Lauren. I think that she's going to realize that she really needs some help and that she really is suffering from PTSD. And I think that maybe that's something her and Kim can open up and talk about together, because we see moments where Kim is having that too. So I'm hoping that they have moments where they can be honest together. And I think we've seen steps where Lauren has been thinking when she's talking to Kieran, should I ask him? Should I ask him about Dylan? Does he even know anything about it? So I think the fact that her and Kieran are getting so close, we're going to see like a situation where the two of them have that conversation, and it's going to be a good step forward for her to really seek the help that she needs and start finding, I don't want to say a greater purpose, as if this isn't something that's really important to her and a lot of people, but like a better reason for living and continuing and doing what she does. And I think that that's going to be a really key step forward with this right here, because I think she's realizing she's got a lot of shit going on that she didn't realize what was going on before.
I wonder if, we've talked a lot about how our Hollis, needs some improvement in its, systems. So I wonder if that will kind of be her new self identity by the end of the comic, where she's like, okay, I'm going to, instead of using my energy on, whatever mission I had before, which let's say, it's solved already, I've made peace, I've accepted it. Now she has all this emotional energy to put towards, righting the wrongs and helping people who need the help, and using her role to help other people. I think that would be a nice ending for her.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really dorky comparison.
Okay.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender, a lot of people know it. I don't know if either of you have watched it, but Zuko has this arc. So he's like the villain at first. He chases the people who are good, and he has this whole arc in the last series where he's not able to firebend anymore because he was fueled by rage and hatred and the desire to capture these people. But once he looked within himself and decided he wanted to be good too, he had to find a new purpose and relearn how to live his life as a firebender who used a different sort of motivation. And I think Lauren's going to go through a similar process here.
Yeah, I think that sounds very right. I've never watched it, but that sounds like makes a lot of sense. That her whole identity or whatever will have to change. It's very difficult to change something like that about yourself, or when you're left without it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Well, it's pretty bad. Like the extent of her trauma is, it's totally debilitating her in a very crucial moment. Her and Kim, Kim at least managed to snap out of it and she doesn't. So it's really bad for her.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. So now we go back to the ship. And it seems like the fight has calmed down. Someone is saying all Phantom Scythe members have been arrested, 3 injured on the left deck, request for a medic, investigating the hold of the ship. Like, haha, what will we find there? And now we have Will come down and Kim come down from the crow's nest. And Kim just runs towards Will and she throws herself at him, like literally throws herself. Like if you see her feet are like woof up there. Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. And Will is so receptive. Like he is open and there for her. And we have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hug. Oh, gorgeous.
I love Kiwi so much. This was the first thing that like I was like, oh my god. I was like, yes. Like it's weird because like so much, like you like thinking about all the like stuff that's happened with all like the guns and everything, but then you're just like, oh, it's okay. They got a hug. It's fine.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like more good than bad, right? The hug outweighs it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. And, you know, I love that it was just taken for granted. There was no discomfort. There was no questioning. There was no like, oh, is it okay if I hug you? She just ran straight at him and he was right there, you know, ready to accept her. And it's just, his look is very intense. Like, I think he looks like he understands how she's feeling, or even if he doesn't know exactly why or the extent of it, he understands that she's been through a lot, something very significant, and needs that support.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
definitely.
recording's about to end.
So it is gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful, for all, great moment for all the Kiwi shippers. And, you know, she steps back, she's sweating, like this is a high tense moment. And honestly, even if there hadn't been the whole freak out, it's a very high stakes situation. Like they all could have died. So the, you know, feelings of, what's the word? Adrenaline, you know, it would have been there anyway. So
Most definitely. They got lucky that it wasn't like a ship full of like bombs or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And she steps back, they're huffing, I mean, their breath is sublimating, she's sweating, and she's like, are you okay? He says, yes, everything's all right. You saved my life. Just sucker for these things. I don't care if it's a trophy. I'm such a sucker. I love this. My dream was, you know how like you daydream? When I was a little kid, I would watch like these movies. I remember like Amazing Panda Adventure. Do you ever see that? It was like a 90s movie. There's totally a scene where, now that I look back at it, they're literally my kids' age, but like whatever. I watched them when I was younger than them, so I was still allowed to have a crush on them. But it was like a girl and boy like lost in China together, and at some point they're on this bridge and the whole bridge collapses. And I think the boy is like hanging on from he's over this like river, mountains, and like the girl is like holding his hand and he's like hanging on, and she pulls him up, and it's like this intense moment. So yeah, it's from age whatever onward, it's always been a very great trope for like saving each other's lives.
High risk moments make Mindy's heart go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Seriously, if I didn't have a family, I would probably put myself in a lot more like dangerous situations where I had those more of the high stakes situations. My brother was a Marine, right? So like, anyway, whatever. Okay, so he says, yeah, you saved my life. And then we focus just on her lips, and like she's trembling, and she turns away, her face is shadowed, and she says, I'm sorry, I froze for a second. I don't know why, I don't understand. And he hugs her again. And he's like, it's all right, Kim. We're both fine. Oh. Like, I'll get you a man who can say, it's okay that you almost got me killed. I'm fine. Supportive anyway.
Perfect. She saved him. It all worked out. It's good. You know,
All fine.
Yeah, he's great. Will is just such a gentleman, as always, just so kind, so available, so, you know, there, except for when he then has a very Will freak out of like, oh my gosh. And he's like, but you are most definitely the craziest woman I've ever met. How do you even think of doing something so dangerous? You could have landed flat against the mast like a sorry fly on a windshield. And he's just like shaking her or something. Are you missing the hospital so badly that you want to go straight in? And you said you dreamt of doing this to her. So you did in the hospital because you really should reconsider adding those dreams to your bucket list.
oh my God.
Yes, there we go. Back to our worrywart. Will. Oh, Whim. Oh my gosh. We called him Kiwi. I just thought of a new one. Whim. Okay, cool.
Cute one. I love it. That was such a good palate cleanser, you know, just him being super silly and like mom mode. I love it.
Yes.
Oh God.
He's a sweetie. You know, they're definitely a case of opposites attract. I think Lauren and Kieran are very, very similar, but Will and Kim are definitely like not the same at all in personality. Like they each
and
other.
like family wise too. Like background.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, in that scene, like I could definitely see Kim having the same kind of like freak out and yelling at someone in the same way.
Yeah. So, sorry, I think my dog wants to become the fourth host.
Oh, hi. Hello, doggy. Very
Oh,
pretty.
such
What a
a-
cute dog. Dogs are so cute. I have kitty cats, but they're not as affectionate. They're like just gonna wander away. Yeah, that's really true. They both I think they both are very attached. Kim probably attaches herself faster, but Will probably takes a while till he feels connected to someone. But once they're attached, I'm sure they're very, very devoted.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely.
Please move.
So yeah, and then after his whole harangue, he sighs. He looks down, he sighs, and he's probably like resigned. He's like, "Well, this is Kim. What can you do?" And she looks at him, and then she has the sweetest smile on her face, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cute." I have to say, out of all things, right, what would make her feel better? It looks like this made her feel better. Getting yelled at made her feel better.
Yeah, she needed that.
Yeah, and she like smirks at him, and she's like, "It was pretty cool, though, right?"
And then his face.
She's not wrong though. That was so cool.
It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, he's hilarious. this guy. Oh my god, their life together could just be like every day is just entertainment central. I mean, we could just have a comic of them living together, and it'll just be hilarious.
Yeah.
I would love that if there was like a mini series after Purple Hyacinth of them.
The
Yes.
Adventures of Kiwi and 𝗀𝗀𝘀.
Mhm. Yes.
Oh my
Please.
god.
It would be great. And she gives him this sweet little smile. And then
Back to drama.
Right? Sweet moment. Goodbye. She's like, "Lauren, do you copy, Lauren?" And Will's like, "She hasn't said anything in a while. She's not answering either. I'm starting to get worried. Something's definitely wrong." Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And then Will's like, "Oh, we lost sight of March. The ship seems to be secured, so I wonder what the lie was all about." And then people come and they're like, "Chief, the whole Tristan's there. The hole's empty. There's nothing in it. No cargo at all. No provisions. No water." Wow, like literally nothing. It doesn't look like the ship has traveled at all. Like, yes. And Tristan looks so upset. He's so angry. And he taps. And they're like, "It makes no sense. There's no way to cross the ocean with this." And there's drama, like all dramatic lines. Willow's looking up. And Tristan, oh my gosh, I've never seen Tristan look angry like this. He's intense, man.
I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying his I just like it because he's always like this supportive father figure and like a good chief, but like seeing him actually get angry, like characters who are like pretty like cheerful get like snappy and get angry, it's like that's a yes in my book.
It's a little hard for me to see. I like him to stay sweet, but yeah, I mean, there's a time for everything, and this is a very good time to be angry. So, and he's like, "March." Oh dear. And Will turns around, and they see a lone figure suspended against the rail of the deck, and it is March, and he's standing over, and it's a very like silent moment. You see him looking over the railing. Just his mouth, just his little goatee. And he takes off his mask, which is like so emblematic of like, okay, the game is up. He's caught as whatever, which we can discuss, but he's taking his mask off, like he's been unmasked.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, and Kim's like, "A decoy. This is what it was all about." And you can take over, Ocean.
Yeah. So we see the ship, very eerie. There's fog coming in. The sails are going. And then we see Will and Kim. Will is running and he's like, "March!" And then Kim runs after Will, yelling after him. I believe we see everybody just running towards him because I think they all just realized at the same time that March betrayed them all. Okay, I've got to take this moment to say, since the very first podcast I was ever on, the first podcast I was on was March and Lauren talking at March's, I believe it was his wife's gravestone.
Oh, you were on that episode?
That was the very first podcast episode I was ever on. And I was like, I don't trust it. because he never said who he thought the villains were. It was very vague. It was very up in the air. And I'm like, well, this could go either way. I could be either like just so wrong and off key, and he's a really sweet guy, or he's in the Phantom Scythe here. So I had to say, I called it. I knew it from day one.
Yes, Ocean, you are right. Wow, everyone go back and listen to the episode and hear Ocean's words of wisdom. That's so vindicating.
Yeah, it's crazy. For me anyway, I was like, ah. So we all see everybody running on the ship, and they're like, you. And we see Will just lose his composure, and he's like, why? Why did you betray us, March? Some of our comrades die for nothing to do because of you.
I was shocked to see Will be so combative. I thought that he would take more time to process it and like keep his feelings inside, but he's very vocal. Were you also surprised to hear that from him?
Well, he's had to keep his feelings in check for like other people betraying him. His brother. And then like when he found out about his brother, he did kind of lose it. Like there's that scene of him like screaming. And then like Kim comes and talks to him. And he has this whole thing of like he has to keep pretending and like pretending that everything's okay. But I think he's kind of like learning like I can't keep pretending anymore. I have to like my feelings cannot keep being bottled up. So I think it's cool that he's kind of gone from being extremely like bottled, like Lauren is like, why won't you let down your walls, Will? And then like, you know, kind of letting up with like people close to him, like Will, Kim and Lauren. And then, you know, he's like moved and he's not bottling up his emotions anymore. He's not being like, oh, I'm not going to say anything to March, but no, he's just like yelling at him. He's like, why have you done this? Why have you betrayed us?
Oh, it's really, I mean, it's interesting because my first thought was like, I didn't know if I would be so fast to accept that, you know, he's the guilty, but that's just probably because I don't know, I feel like I would need more evidence. I would need to think about it more, like let's discuss it from every angle. Let's like to hear what he has to say. You know, that would be like my initial, like I would be much more reserved about passing judgment, I think. But, you know, maybe after I watched my friends get killed, I wouldn't be.
Yeah. I think it's also something to do with his brother. Like he wanted an explanation and he didn't really get one. And like when Raphael did let something slip, he was like, oh, I can't tell you the rest. So he's kind of just frustrated and like he can't really trust a lot of people. So I think, and probably because he did trust March, now that he has betrayed him at least a little bit, because he knows that he was lying because Lauren told him, like he's just not, he's not very happy about it, I would say.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially coming off of like, he just had like a flash of his life, basically. Like he almost just died. Yeah. So you're a little bit less to keep like your emotions in check during that kind of a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we see Tristan come up. He comes in front of Will. He walks over to him, and we just see them back to back.
Oh, it's such a good drawing panel, that one.
It is.
March, by the way, looks very resigned. Okay, so this kind of goes with what's going to happen next, but his demeanor shifts a little bit in a bit, but right now he looks very like he's bent over. He looks contemplative, and I think he looks like, okay, I have to face this, and we can discuss more about theories afterwards. But he looks a little dejected over here.
Yeah,
definitely. And we just hear Tristan very calmly arrest him. And I don't know if that's just the lights, because I keep thinking I see it, but I feel like it's a full moon. And so they're all kind of talking about it. They don't really understand it. And they're like, but sir, and he said, I said, arrest him. Loses his composure a little bit. So a couple of guys come up with their cuffs here. And we just see March laughing. Laughing like a madman.
Here we go.
He'll be like, oh darn, you figured it out. Like, but what he actually says is, oh, I have no intention of letting you arrest me. And I believe he's holding a gun to his throat.
Yep.
I didn't expect you to find out so quickly, but I came prepared nonetheless. And Tristan says, you openly admit to conspiring with the Phantom Scythe against us. Very well. You can tell us the tale once you're behind bars, March. And he takes the safety off of his gun and he says, no, I don't think so, Sinclair. You see, perhaps the reason the APD can never keep up with the Phantom Scythe is that, unlike you, we are ready to die for our cause. So that scene where they're back to back, I think he was just composing himself. Like, he's been meditating on this. He knows what he wants. He's already ready. Like, he already knew he was going to die at some point.
It's very dramatic. This whole scene, by the way, whoa.
Yeah.
Dramatic. I was like, Brooks reading this.
Oh, I know. I was like, oh, gosh, I hope he doesn't, but
me too. I was like, don't blow your brains out, please don't.
Yeah, super intense. He goes on and he says, you thought that discovering the Devil's Den would be enough to paralyze us, that we didn't see it coming, that didn't prepare for it. You'll never be able to stop us. Tonight was just another testimony to how clueless the APD is.
He has crazy eyes right now. Crazy eyes, crazy mouth. He also looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He looks different, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, that is something. He looks very different. Like, I don't know. It's just something about his facial expressions, because he's always like, in every, like, he hasn't been like a super major character, but in every scene with like Lauren and stuff, he's been like really calm, like pretty much always smiley. And then, like, you know, there's like the scene where he's at the graveyard, he's like serious, but like I don't think his expression has ever gone beyond like he doesn't have those crazy expressions that like everyone else in the cast does. And like this is his turn, so it kind of like feels a little bit weird. But yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's why I was definitely suspicious of him and Tristan. I trust Tristan now. I'm good with Tristan. But that's part of why I didn't trust him, you know, because he was just never really showing himself. It's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of a character with him. So we move on and he grabs the rope and he says, it's ridiculous how easy it was to fool you. What the hell have you done, March? What is he doing? And we see them all looking at him. They're not really sure what he's going to do yet. And he says, as your officers have so clearly figured out, this ship is empty. It set sail approximately 3 hours ago from a nearby port and did a large detour to get here.
So, you know how, okay, so there's like a, I don't know, something that was going around the internet where it's like, these are the things that every villain must do. And it's like, you know, reveal their plot or reveal their, you know, plan, like to the evil person, to the good person right before they're about to kill them. And then, you know, whatever, then they get thwarted. It's like, here he is. It's like, why does he have to say this? Like literally no reason.
Yeah. I want to talk about that, but I'll probably wait until the end.
Yes, I have a bunch of theories. We have a bunch of stuff to discuss at the end of this dialogue. Monologue.
Okay. I'll rush through it then. Okay, so we see Kim and she's like, Lauren, do you copy? Lauren. And I think she's more focused on what happened to Lauren than she really is with March. There's all these other people, you know, they got this. She's focused on Lauren. And he continues and he says, the fun we had here gave the real cargo more than enough time to safely reach land elsewhere. And at this point, he's just like twirling his gun around. He's so arrogant. He's like, I might shoot myself. I might not. I don't know. Like,
why are you telling them the plan? Just don't tell them the real thing. Now they know that there's a real cargo somewhere else. I mean, I guess they could have figured that out, but like still, like don't give away any details. If I was a bad person, just shut your mouth. That's it. Don't give them anything to know.
Well, he's definitely just buying more time.
Maybe.
That's what I thought. I don't know. And March says, and thanks to your diversion. He's continuing. And thanks to your diversion, we now have an entire crew to interrogate. Pointlessly so.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they don't know anything.
Yeah, no. They're just told to show up at 8:30, you know? We cut back to Kim, who's still worried about Lauren. She said, Lauren, where the hell are you? Lauren. And we see the vacant room where Lauren was. And then we cut back to Lauren. We still see Dylan, and we see all these pieces from the factory that she was in, I believe, coming down on her. And I am I right? Are those like factory pieces from the factory she was in during the explosion?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it's the same like assets. which is really cool.
Yeah. And so she says, stop it. And it's all coming down on her, and the embers and the hisses and the crackles. And she's just sobbing on the floor, just saying, stop it, over and over again. And she's reliving all these memories with people that she's seen died in the fire, and Dylan in the train station.
Yep. Something interesting about this panel, I don't know who that is in the first one. The one after she says stop it, but then when she says stop it again, it's Kim and Will, but the person at the top is Kieran, which is really interesting.
I said that, but
I'm pretty sure it is, because that's like his black hair and like his hand, and that's his skin tone.
It's so funny. I thought it was Will. Well, I know there's Will in a second, but to me, it doesn't look like it's black hair. It looks like it's lighter, but a lot of people said it's Kieran. So
I think it is, but I don't know who that person at the start is. I don't know if that's Kieran too.
It's the same person. It's just zoomed in. There's a
okay. Okay, it is the same person. Okay,
it's the same gloves. I mean, I guess it's gloves on the hand.
Yeah. So when she has this, because she's had this like hallucination before of Kim and Will being dead.
Right.
It was only Kim and Will, but now she's having it again, and Kieran's there. So like that just, they've come so far.
He's the first person she thinks of dead. Yay!
Yay! That's a number one green flag.
Top 10 signs you like him. You picture him.
Oh dear.
True.
Right. Dear readers, don't take that seriously. Podcasts.
All right. Do you want me to take over now?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know where the stopping point was. So
no, that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. All right. So after we finish having that fun moment with Lauren, we go back to March, and he says, the Phantom Scythe has indeed changed location of the delivery, and I had the honor to participate in creating this plan alongside the leader himself. So that's big boy pants. He got the big boy pants on. So we have a flashback to a scene from a few episodes ago where he's talking to Messenger 7, and he says, the plans for the delivery have been changed thanks to your most recent fiasco. I've been mandated to take care of the operation from now on. I hope that you would prove yourself to be more competent than the other fools. And then we had that hooded person who, people were theorizing, and I think there is actually a little bit of his scar showing, and people theorized it was him from that teeny tiny scar, and you can't see it very well in this panel because it's got the flashback lines over it. But I think someone posted a picture in the Discord, but I wouldn't be able to find it.
Which episode was this in?
I don't remember exactly which one it was. I'd have to go back and check.
Yeah, I'm trying. Did we get the name of this? Not the name, but did we get a number for this guy? I'm assuming he's an apostle, right? I don't remember anymore. I don't remember who this person is, from the flashback. Was it an apostle or was it not?
I thought it was a messenger, right?
The messenger is the one with the beak or with the mask.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we never got I don't think we ever got a label for who this hooded person is. So it's just March, I think. Well, it's March now, but
right.
We don't know if he is just if he's an apostle or not. Yeah. Anyway, we continue back, and he says, I'm the only one on the ship with the information that you seek. And then, so it's cutting back from Lauren to March now. So Lauren, she's crying, she's not having fun. And Tristan says, the leader himself, you've seen him?
That's the only thing he wants. He's like, you know who the leader is?
Tell me who he is. Lauren.
Our first thought was a lot of us have been speculating that March is the leader. So when he says that, along the leader himself, if he's not lying, then not the leader.
But it's annoying because so annoying that Lauren's having a mental break. Why can't you just be here with us, Lauren? I'm joking, but yeah, it's so obviously it makes sense for the story, but it's if Lauren was here, this would be so much easier. Everything would be easier with Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So after Tristan says the leader himself, you've seen him. We see Lauren, and we see where she actually is. She's not in this fiery thing. She's just in this warehouse with a wheelbarrow and stuff like that. And someone is sneaking up behind her. They're going tap tap tap,
I'm not even
And-
speaking. They're probably just walking, and Lauren is so out of.
Well, yeah, they're not. Yeah, I don't think she's really focused, so I don't think they have to sneak. So yeah, just like walking up behind her, and then back to March, and he says, "Oh, I hear your next question. Well, why would I tell you who he is? It'd be a shame to spoil the secret." He's gone full like mustache twirling like
Right.
and then Tristan says, "You are mad, like you are mad." And then he says, "For how long, March? For how long have you been playing against us?" And I think this might be my favorite March panel from this episode.
I know he looks very crazy. He's like has this victorious expression on him, and like I don't care anymore expression.
Yeah, it's like I know and you don't know, and I'm not going to tell you. So like,
I'm like, I
Yeah.
pulled it off. You know, I pulled one over you.
yeah.
I almost feel like this is like the truest we've seen him all season. Like this is
Yeah.
who he really is.
I don't know. Okay, so that's what I have questions about, but I'm
wait for
still
that, 'cause
hoping for the goodness. But yeah, we'll
Yeah,
finish this.
because we're nearly done. So yep, the person sneaking up on Lauren is like right behind her, and I believe that's like a metal pipe or something. And they're standing over her, and then we get like this fully silhouetted thingy of March, and it looks really great. A lot of people pointed out that it kind of looks like the statue from like the very beginning, where that guy was like doing the protest, and he kind of looked like the statue. This is kind of the same pose.
That's so true. I did not realize that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
this
good
might
shout.
have some implications, but again, talk about it in a little bit because we're nearly done. She says, "I despise you bunch of hypocrites," which is just really sad because Kim and Will are in that crowd, and it's just like,
Aw.
I thought we were
No.
friends. Thought we were friends much. And then he says, I've plotted against you for longer than you can imagine. I will forever be proud. And then the person going to hit, this person like goes back and is getting ready to hit Lauren. And then he says, "I will forever be proud of my contribution to the Phantom Scythe." And then bop Lauren on the head. And then I will forever be proud of my contribution to the Phantom Scythe and everything we accomplished. Bang. And then we have the shot of the police officers looking shocked. And then March got shot in, I can't really tell if he actually got shot in the vest or if he got shot like through the like, yeah. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but yeah, he got shot. And then he got shot 2 more times, and I'm pretty sure those are actually hitting the vest.
Mm-hmm.
So he got shot, and then he slips, and then it says March. So they all run to grab him, but nope, he's gone. He falls, goes splash into the water, and you see like blood in the water. So like it's not looking good for March. So yeah, someone just shot him, and we don't know who it is.
Whew. All right. Okay. My first preliminary questions. Well, when you saw him get shot, did you think that he died? Did you think they were mortal wounds? Before you read the note, what did you think?
I don't know, because we've had a lot of fake deaths recently, so I feel like we need like a real one, so it doesn't feel like, because with all the fake deaths, you like there's no like tension, like it's like, oh, so and so died, it's okay, it's just a fake. Because like we had Lauren and Kieran in the season 2 finale, but like they lived, and then we had Darcy, but like she lived as well. So I feel like we really need a real death. So it's like kind of 2 sides of the coin, because like for one, I'm like, we need a real death, so like stuff has impact, but also like we need to know more about like what March was up to, and we need Lauren to be listening. But yeah, it's just, you know, there's my feelings.
What did you
Yeah,
think?
I feel like, so like when I first saw this and I like zoomed in, I was trying to see, because it almost seems like it was like pretty close to the heart, or like just above where the vest is. So I feel like it was a real shot. Like even his eyes, like he looked surprised, like he was really feeling himself in the moment, and he was kind of working himself up to maybe doing it himself, faking it himself. And I think he just said too much, and I think somebody was watching, and I think they really shot him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to survive this.
So yeah, my first thought was like, I totally have the same thoughts as you, Chase. I was like, I want someone to actually die. and like it has to be someone significant. But on the other hand, I was like, I want more information. I was like, well, they'll just fish him out of the water and give him CPR, and then they can talk. But then I read the note, which says, should we read the note? Or
Yes,
the note says, to be honest, I was going to draw March without the helmet for the last scene, but I thought it'd be funnier if he died without ever exposing his hero to fresh air for 158 episodes. What a legend. Which, by the way, is such a snarky comment to write as like on the mid-season finale. Like, this is what you write at the end of this all, but whatever. But so that makes me think that he is dead. Oh, like, no.
Oh, man. It's extra sad too, because even though he was just kind of a jerk up there, everyone is so distressed and upset when he got shot.
Oh yeah, they like immediately went to go save him.
Yeah, you can see it in their faces. They're like, no, we can save you. You're still the person that we know, and a piece of you loves us the way that we care for you. It's just really.
Oh, that is so sad. But I think I didn't even think of it that way. I was like, well, they just want more information out of him. But yeah, that makes more sense. Like, this is someone that they worked with for like years. Tristan knew him for like probably 20 years, whatever it is. Like, that's a massive betrayal.
Yeah.
Okay, so now my next question is, did this ring true to you? Does this make sense to you? Because when he was going on his whole villain speech, like you put it, I was like, this doesn't sound like March. Like, it doesn't sound like him. So either March just really pulled a fast one for the whole entire story, and like, this is who he really is, and this is just truth and genuine and whatever. He's just a snarky person. Or I'm like, against all hope, is there some kind of weird way in which this is not as bad as it seems? And I can't even think of how to explain it, but I'm sure there is a way to think about where he's like, it's part of the PS, but he's not so bad. And it's not just because of the idealism of everyone else on the PS. It's like he was trying to say something. Some people have theories that he thought Lauren was listening, and he's trying to communicate with her by lying and hoping she'll pick up on it. Is it like, do you think there's any possibility of that, and or even how that could be?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That because I remember me and you did an episode where it was the episode where Lauren was like, you need to like get him to speak more clearly. His answer's too vague, and he ended up lying, and she caught it. I think, and in that episode we were like, I don't think March knows, because he wouldn't out himself, would he? But what if he does know, and he did out himself on purpose, and he knows that Lauren can hear when he lies? So he's saying all these like really like weird things where he's like, I'm the only person who has this info, and it's like, well, if Lauren could hear that, maybe it would be a lie. And like, oh, there's someone else on this ship, and like, I am like, or like, I despise all of you, like that could be a lie too. It's like, you can't despise Kim. Like, who doesn't like Kim? Like, she's the best. Stuff like that. So like, maybe he does know about Lauren's ability, and he was trying to communicate, but he doesn't know that she's been bonked, and she can't hear him anymore. So that's one theory that I have, because like, I don't know, something about his, like I said, it's too like twirling mustache, like turn around in my chair with my evil cat kind of monologue.
Yeah. So I was super conflicted. I feel like it's kind of like one of those like key things in like books and shows. I just finished Attack on Titan, and a lot of those characters, I don't know if either of you have ever seen that.
I got the poster.
Oh yes. Okay. So when Annie betrays everyone, she comes off as this very calm, very just, I don't know how to put it, unsociable, like unapproachable, but loyal person in their group, in this army. And then when she finally truly reveals herself, she almost has like this manic moment where March does. And I think it's because she feels both ways. She feels a loyalty to the people that she was originally sided with. But I think because she spent so much time with these people, like with March, he spent so much time with these people, and he formed these connections, that he really does truly feel bad about it. Because when you think about it, there's good and bad people in every single group. Nobody in one group is just all evil or all good. And I think he realized that when he started working with the APD. He's just like, okay, all these people aren't as bad as I thought they were. So I think it really hurts him to betray them, even though he was originally loyal to the Phantom Scythe. And I think that's where he was getting like his almost like manic, cynical, I hate you all kind of a thing, because he's trying to like remind himself of why he's doing it.
Yeah.
But I do think that he was originally Phantom Scythe, just the way he was talking about his wife at the, her gravestone and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, he's probably dead, unfortunately, but I do think that we're going to learn more about him and his motives and his life and his behavior and his actions, over the course of the story. And I'm hoping he'll have some more redemption, because I don't think that Soph will like not give us that closure. I think that we have to know more about him and feel a little bit at peace and try to understand his actions. Like we feel betrayed right now too. And we've been, led up to it already for quite some time. So I'm hoping that we'll get some more closure and more understanding of his motivations. And here's the other question. Do you think that he's dead to Lauren in the cave? Do you think that this is talking about March?
That's a hard one. I don't know. He's like, it seems like he's the obvious candidate. So like, I don't know. Some part of me is just like, I don't want to go like the most obvious one. I'd like to explore more options. But yeah, he's definitely the most like obvious one, because like we just saw him kick the bucket. Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of want to wait for the next season before I like fully think about like if he's going to be the one who's dead in the cave. Also, where is Darcy? I hope she's okay.
Yeah, well, both she and Lauren make it to that scene, so which is, by the way, it's kind of the weirdest throwaway ever, because like it's fun for us to speculate, because every time we're like, he's dead, is it this person, is that person? But it also gives plot armor to Darcy and Lauren. So.
Yeah, it's like really random too. Like that's like a really random, that didn't happen in like season 1 or season 2. We never had like a flash forward that showed like, oh, this person's fine, they're gonna be alive. I mean, I also like, I'm pretty sure Lauren has like all the plot armor, she's the main character. And I don't think this is the type of story that would benefit from killing off the main character. Some stories do, but I don't think this is one. So I think she'll be okay.
Definitely. I'm sorry, what were you, you said that there was some kind of scene where you said like they said he was dead? Well,
there's like a flash forward in episode 111 where it's like 1 month later, and then Darcy says to Lauren, he's dead, and that's it. In the cave.
That's it. Okay. It was like right once season 3 premiered, it was in the last episode of the first Fast Pass episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, yeah, I don't have any guesses. I'd have to think about that one. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my gosh, it's so emotional. Like it's so difficult to see him, just go in the water. It's a really impactful death, or probably death, or 99% death. This is like a character that we've come to grow very affectionate for. And like, even if he is PS, like we still believe, I think, that he's a well-rounded character with feelings and caring. So to see him go under, it's like, oh,
ouch. All right, so our last scenes is Lauren getting dragged away. She doesn't look so hot. She's got blood on her head, and we can't see who's dragging her. So that's another mystery that we have to solve.
I kind of assume it was Zephyr, no, because he was running.
Yeah, so that's like, it's very heavily assumed, but never assume anything in this comic. We gotta wait for confirmation. Sometimes even when there is confirmation, I'm like suspicious of it. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, and then we have the beautiful last scene. We have
wait, before we do that, should we just speculate kidnapping her?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of assume that if it's Zephyr, it's someone for Redcliffe, but then Redcliffe on behalf of who? Himself, the Royals, the Phantom Scythe. I mean, Redcliffe is like a wild card.
Yeah, we don't know. So we don't know who's captured her. Sorry, yeah, go.
That's okay. I was gonna say, I kind of like to think it might be Will's brother. It could be a fun redemption arc for him, even though he just did beat Lauren till her head bled and he's dragging her.
I think he has blonde hair. This guy, I mean, it could just be the lighting, but he looks like he has blonde hair to me. I don't know. What's shaking? I don't know. Zephyr had dark hair. This guy looks like he has lighter hair. Then again, he would also look like he had blonde hair. So I don't know.
All right. Okay, so the final scene is it's very beautiful. It's of Kieran by himself, and he's looking at one of his hyacinths, and he's just like holding it out in front of him. One of the little petals drops on the floor, and that's the end. And I believe it's supposed to be a parallel to like episode 2 or 3, where I don't know, might actually be 1. I don't know, but one of the first episodes where Lauren is like, I didn't think I'd have to team up with him to find it, and we see like Kieran looking at his hyacinths all.
By the way, that's like one of my favorite panels ever, the whole thingy. So to see it again here, it's like gorgeous.
Yeah. And the improvement by Soph obviously is outstanding. It's just so great.
Yeah, so a lot of people were joking how everyone else is like hypertension drama, life-threatening drama, and he's like being all emo, like looking at his
It's like my hyacinths are in bloom this season.
Okay, that leads me to a question that I've always wondered, and now it's appropriate to ask on the podcast. Where the heck does he always get beautifully fresh hyacinths? Does he grow them? Does he steal them from a farm? Does he plant them in the alley?
He's just a little gardener. Like, probably the person who knows he's the purple hyacinth is the florist who keeps giving them to him.
We joked about that.
It's like, he's such a great customer. He gives me so much service. I'm always out of hyacinths.
That's so funny.
Well, hopefully he grows them somewhere very secret. I mean, for them, I guess.
That would be really funny if that's how he gets caught. Like, you've been growing a lot of hyacinths, Kieran. You want to tell us about that?
Throws them in his cave.
Now, I mean, I'm sure a bunch of us thought of this, like, who shot March, and was it Kieran?
Yep, that was my first question. Who shot March? Who did it? I don't know. I don't think it was Kieran, because I don't know if he has knowledge on this mission, because like he's kind of in a little bit of hot water from like the leader and stuff because he failed his loon mission. So I don't know if they'd give him insight onto this mission. So I don't think it was Kieran who did it.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of the apostles, because I feel like I remember in one of the recent chapters, they were talking about a couple of people who would become a nuisance. And obviously Kieran and Lauren were one of them. And I believe one of them was pretty vague. And now I'm starting to think that it was March, but I have a dueling theory that March was also Apostle 3. I don't know actually, but I feel like one of the apostles might have killed him to just start getting rid of their problem people.
Yeah,
or their henchmen. I don't know. Or
I think it was definitely definitely a Phantom Scythe member. I don't think it would have been a police officer. Like they.
I assume we'll find out, because that's a big question. Oh my God.
That's a good question. And so who shot March and who hit Lauren are my two main questions. We kind of have a feeling might be for Lauren, but like I need my confirmation. I don't know. Also, I think I might be, I don't know if I'm remembering this exactly right, but I think there was a conversation where they were talking about Lauren, like the apostles and the leader, and the leader was like, oh, I don't want you to hurt Lauren.
Have my own plan.
Yeah, so I feel like whoever hit Lauren is not working for the leader, or not working under, like it wasn't an order from the leader to.
Interesting. Where I can totally see it as this is part of his plan. Kidnap her.
Oh well, yeah. That too. Actually, yeah, that could be interesting. But like, I guess I kind of took it a bit more literally about like, don't hurt Lauren. It's like, okay, well, I just Bob.
Right. Could have caused permanent brain damage. Wow. By the way, I just have to say about this last scene, like it's gorgeous, and like, in general, looks like Kieran's contemplating his life and like his morality and like, oh my gosh, why am I, who am I, what am I, whatever. But I just think they put him in at the end because We just couldn't have like a mid-season finale and have a whole hiatus without seeing Kieran one last time because we were such
Yeah.
like, well, there's no
Yeah.
plot purpose at all. Here you go, beautiful Kieran.
It's just the parallels. It's just so being like, look how much I've improved, guys.
But they really portray his moodiness and his guilt and his anguish so vividly, and it's just so beautifully done.
Yep. I can't wait for him to realize that Lauren is in trouble. That's like one of my top favorite, like one of my favorite things, like what I want to happen in the next part of the season. So like, I don't know. Okay, so this is kind of what I think is going to happen, just because it was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, so maybe he has to go into work and like everyone's really downtrodden because like March might be dead and Lauren and Will and Kim don't know where Lauren is. And then he's like, hey, Kim, Will, where's Lauren? And they're like, we don't know. Like, she wasn't picking up and we went to the secret place and she wasn't there. And he like just freaks out. And he's like, oh, okay. Like he has to kind of hide it in front of them. But like he just freaks out and he's like, I knew it was gonna happen. It's just like, yeah, what a great boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe they'll be like, well, like maybe like haven't you heard from her? Like you're her boyfriend, but he's like, no, I haven't heard from her. And he just like freaks out and like I knew this was gonna happen. Like I knew something was gonna happen to Lauren, and now something has, and it's not a fun time.
That gives me so much anxiety. Obviously, I want to see him go like full protect my girl mode, but I'm also like, no, because then they're gonna get Kieran and there's gonna be this horrible scene of like them getting Kieran and he's gonna be like interrogated by the Phantom Scythe is what I'm imagining, and tortured, and all this trauma is gonna be brought up, and it makes me so sad.
Sorry, Kieran.
I don't know. I think he'll go ballistic. I mean, he said he'll go ballistic. I don't see him getting kidnapped by the Phantom Scythe, but like I could see him doing bad things to other people, you know. Get her back. But I'm excited. I want to see him go ballistic too. I want to see that anguish. Sorry, Kieran. I want to put you through emotional torture. Ocean's anticipating physical torture. I'm just like, yes, emotional torture. Please give it to me.
Yeah, everyone stay sorry to Kieran, okay? He deserves your apologies.
Very cute. Oh my gosh, what an episode. So many like questions, drama, reversals. Whoa. This was great.
What have you got to show us, Ocean?
I won the giveaway for Mindy, and I just had to. It's a sticker of Kieran. I was like, this treasured serious, a very angry serial killer Kieran is going somewhere precious. I had to show
it's so precious. Yeah. I have so many. Yeah. Oh my god.
Hyacinth.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, I just have to show you that.
I wish I could show you I have like a full wall of prints.
You shared pictures. It was amazing.
Yeah, it looks, it's so messy. Like I need to organize them, but
it's so great.
I vote Kieran.
All right. Okay, I'm like, I can't calm down, but whatever. I guess I shouldn't have to calm down. So okay. Wow. So what are your overall thoughts?
Great. I'm actually curious, did you like, so I know this isn't a finale, but do you think this is better than the season 1 and season 2 finales, like out of all of them? Because they were all great, but I'm just curious to see which one you guys like more.
I like this one the best. I will say for season 1, I caught up after season 1 finale already like had passed.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that same emotional impact because I binged the whole thing in like, I don't know, one sitting or whatever it was. So I didn't get that sense of a finale. I just, kept going. But at least compared to season 2, I like this one better because the level of reversal is higher than in the factory arc. The factory arc, we kind of knew what was going to happen. But the fact March's betrayal and Lauren being kidnapped, we kind of saw coming, but like March's betrayal also sort of saw coming, but like his death, his betrayal, that's very very much, very like high stakes.
I I think this one was the most exciting for me too, because I felt like it was just like a very clean break, and I also wasn't expecting it, which kind of made it even more like exciting for me. I feel like it was just like really long and detailed, and I feel like we got a lot of really good key pieces that I've been wondering, like about March. I've been super excited to learn about that. I really liked all the scenes with Dylan, and I'm really excited about the mystery with Lauren. So this one was probably the most exciting, even though I know the last one had a bomb. It's a big finale, but this one was the perfect mixture for me.
Wasn't as explosive, but
well, not explosive like physically, but maybe informationally.
Maybe, yeah. I think this one also brings it, I think this one, I don't know, I kind of just have a soft spot for season 2 because it was just like, I think that episode is like, I don't think there's anything. I think that episode's like perfect. So it's just really, really good, well executed. I like this one in the way that like there's just so many questions, like what happened. Like there's just so many like I said, questions like who hit Lauren, who shot March, why is March a betrayer, what is Kieran gonna do, like, and like all these like other small things, like we had that, like other like plots that haven't like gotten answers, like what there was like a letter that like Sandman was writing, like what's gonna happen with that, what about Bella, is she gonna break out, what about Darcy, where is she, and there's just I feel like there's a lot more questions, obviously makes sense because we're further into the story than like season 2. With season 2 it was basically like, are Kieran and Lauren alive? And it's also kind of different since like we've already passed that and like we know that they're okay, so I don't know, I think I might have just talked myself into liking the season more because I was like, oh no, I like the season 2 one a lot, it's really good. But no, I think I'm like, no, I think I like this one more. Like I said, I think the episode's like actually perfect, so still got a soft spot for me. But yeah.
How long do you think we'll wait for the next one?
I don't know.
I'm fine with waiting. I think it's good to build up the anticipation.
Yeah. The only thing that is like, so a lot of my series that I read right now are on hiatus as well. So, and 𝗵𝗵 Hyacinth was the only one that wasn't. So I was like, yes, I get to read 𝗵𝗵 Hyacinth every week, even though some of my other favorite series are paused right now. But now all my favorite series are paused, so I have nothing to read. So maybe I'll go find something new to find to like read or like reread them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I wanted to read Brendan's thing. I should have read this at the appropriate time, but I remembered now. This is about Lauren's breakdown with Dylan. And she says, I'm thinking now about Lauren's breakdown with Dylan and how his words to her also manifest in reality. He hammers home that without her search for him, she has nothing, and she can't function without the idea of him being alive, motivating her. He tells her point blank that she has all the info she needs to prove he's dead, once and for all. She won't let herself because without it, her past 10 years of searching and hoping will be for nothing. And what happens when he points this out? Lauren is immobilized, unable to move forward and get out of the situation she's in because of the memory of him, and the thought of his survival motivated her to keep moving forward. The thought of him and all the energy she's put into searching for him and getting revenge for being for naught leave her paralyzed on the floor, literally unable to get up and take herself away before she's knocked out and taken. Dylan in that moment shows how harmful her fixation and denial have been for her, which I just really liked.
Yeah. It's also interesting how, I think this was also might have been said, how like Dylan in her first flashbacks are like, he's just like a nice like childhood friend, he's just an innocent kid, he hasn't done anything. But in the more like ones at the end, he's like turned into like this demon child who's like face is melting, and it's just like showing how her obsession with Dylan has gotten worse and worse, and it's like led her down a worse path, and like she doesn't see him in this positive light anymore because his death has caused her so much pain, and like she doesn't blame him for it, but like the memory of him is like too painful, and like the obsession with him has like ruined her life kind of in a way.
Yeah, that's also one of the biggest things that I loved or I'm happy about this episode, is that she finally came to that realization, and like she's going to move forward, whether it's asking Kieran or asking whoever about Dylan's death. figuring out who she is without that in her life, that's like a massive step. And that's another reason that I like this episode more, because I think it has more emotional substance in it.
Yep.
No, definitely. He definitely asked the real questions, like, and a lot of the facts that like we weren't sure if she knew, like, like I just re-looked it up. You know that I'm dead. You've searched for me for 10 years, but you know that I'm dead. Like the fact that she's been in denial for 10 years and she's just now coming to terms with it, like that's really hitting home in this episode.
Yeah, 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my, so much. I love it. I'm feeling very satisfied, with the episode.
Yes.
Do we have our favorite panel? Kieran's our corner.
I won't go for the easy one. It's like Kieran.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one of March.
Yeah.
So a lot of these panels are like actiony. Very few of them, apart from like the Kieran one, obviously, are like showing how beautiful the character is. A lot of them are like actiony.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think mine is with Dylan, the first one, when he says, "Why have you turned me into your obsession?" And he starts to break down and his skin is going and he has this very like demonic look into him. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this over, but like this scene right here with him is probably my favorite one.
Yeah, mine might I can find it. Oh, I think just some of March's face make me happy. So like this one here.
Yeah.
Just like the grin on his face is good, but also the one like his victorious one is also like, like his little smirk.
Yeah. Concur. I'm with you. The same. Like the Kieran one has to be number one. It just always is. And like March, like this one.
Too easy.
Wow. Well, I'm like emotionally overcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great episode. Woo!
Yes. Yeah, no, I think that's one of my favorite mid-finale, series finales, like out of all the webtoons that I read. This is a really good one.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's impactful. It's high stakes. Some of the other, stories are like lower stakes. They're more slice of life type of thing. So, the finale just will be like, oh my gosh, he called me, or like he said I love you or something, right? So it's like it's very different type of story with different.
Yeah, I prefer the high stakes ones.
Yeah.
I'll quickly give a little shout out to it's called I'm the Grim Reaper, and I actually have some of the posters right there. It's really good, and it's one of the ones that are on hiatus, and it's got similar vibes to this one. It with like the high stakes and stuff, and the finale that just happened kind of reminded me of this one. Yeah, it's really good, and that's why they're my two favorite webtoons.
I think it's on my list, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, no, the season finale that came closest to this was In the Bleak Midwinter. I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't watched it, but you get a lot of truths that you don't expect from the main character. I know, Mindy, you read that one. That one had a lot of impact, a lot of wow factors, and I was just stunned after that one. So, yeah.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Ocean and Chaise. Really lovely to do the mid-season finale with you, and I hope to see you guys again in the future. We'll see how soon.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
All right. Thanks so much. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you to my current patrons: Susie, Lily, Molly, Veronica, Emily, Jo Rochelle, Saucy Tuggles, Anne Rose, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, Esther, I'm Watching You People, Emily Jean, Kay, Lily, Becca, Christine, Sadie, Teresa, Mrs. Castaldo, and 𝗪𝗶𝘁. Your support is truly appreciated.